On November 9th, 2018, sophisticated hackers gained access to the ANU server network and remained undetected for more than a month. The target? Not any research data, but personal information on past and present students. While no specific actor was ever named, many blame China. The motive remains undetermined, with no cases of identity fraud being connected to the hack. However, the hack did reveal potential cyber safety issues that may not be exclusive to the ANU. So how cybersafe is ANU really? We sat down with Vice-Chancellor Brian Schmidt, who recently appeared before the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security. Vice-Chancellor, thank you very much for joining us.
Good to be here.
Let's begin with the 2018 hack. Could you just briefly explain what that entailed?
So there are actually two hacks in 2018. If people can remember, there was the first hack in mid-year that made a lot of news, but no data were actually taken. And that was a place where the ANU's systems, I would say, were in a state where they were vulnerable. In November of 2018, not discovered until several months later, a much more sophisticated attack occurred. And so this was an attack that was ultimately instigated by what is loosely described as a phishing attack. This one you didn't need to click on anything. It turns out that in the preview function, when it rendered just the preview with no buttons clicked, that was enough to launch the attack. And that was able to compromise a key person of the university's credentials. And they were able to do a lot of complicated things. They were very good at washing their tracks behind them. And ultimately, they were able to get to what was very clearly their target, which was the enterprise system that included the details of who has worked and studied at the university.
Why would they use that data, do you think? Why would they target that data, personal information?
So why would a foreign state want to know? I don't know. You could imagine triangulating on just information on people for their own purposes of surveillance. I just literally don't know. We take responsibility for the things that happen to students on our watch here, whether or not it's now, a year, 30 years. Absolutely take responsibility. So, anyone who has concern, we're always happy for them to reach out and for us to have a discussion. But I do think that we do monitor for the leakage of that information and things like the dark web and other stuff, and there hasn't been leakage, and we have seen no criminal activity or anything like that. And again, the data itself didn't contain anything, I think, that would be easily used in a coercive way.
Is there any inclination as to who these state actors may have been?
No, I mean, everyone's always happy to go out and speculate. The reality is we don't know. And the Australian government says they know, but they won't tell anyone.
How high is the threat level at the moment towards the ANU? In other words, how worried should students be about the safety of their data right now?
So the university has very strong measures in place, but the threat is high. There's lots of criminals, lots of state actors out there who want to get in.
What can students do individually on their part to make sure that their data is safe?
So a whole range of things. Go look at CyberSense because it is it's watchable. If you see something's not quite right, don't just click on it. Go, If you're using BitTorrents and things to download movies, well, I can tell you that's a very good way to get hacked.
You appeared in March before the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security and said that ANU has a particularly large exposure. Why is that?
If you look at our proximity to government, and that manifests as our students going and working for government, but also all the work and research we do aligned to government, it means that we are a particularly interesting target to state actors.
Following the 2018 hack, the ANU adapted its foreign interference policies and cybersecurity policies. Could you just expand on what these policies entail to guard against foreign interference?
We close down vulnerable servers, that we patch things, that we put in much more sophisticated detection that I hired a CISO that could bring things to my attention within the university and who has the ability to direct resources around the university. So that's the cyber side. What I always tell people is we have a new program where you don't hide, you just tell people we're up to. If you're doing something that's concerning, we'll have a chat with you. We're not gonna go and hold you to ransom or take you out the back. What we really want to know is just what are we doing? Let's make sure that you aren't being taken for a ride and, for example, contributing to something that you don't want to be contributing to.
As Chancellor, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
And if you wish to watch the full interview, it is available on our YouTube channel.